Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pursuing Excellence podcast. I'm your host, Jay Gay. It's been a minute, guys, I know, but I'm back here on Pursuing Excellence. Make sure you guys subscribe, check us out here on Spotify, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Our show is there. Make sure you check us out. No, I haven't dropped an episode in a minute, but wanted to drop this here. As college is starting to roll around for a lot of students, including myself, and we're getting into August, that fall, and that part of the year where it's going to start getting hard for some people on certain things. But I just wanted to take this podcast to remind you guys to keep pushing and keep going forward. We're getting there. Just getting one step faster each and every day. Mainly today's episode, I want to talk about getting one step faster and tuning out the noise. And what I mean by that is, it's very important, that we do not let the outside world dictate what we do and how we are, or what we can and can't do in the world, right? That's very important, because as humans we tend to try to get the approval of others, for things that we're trying to do, for our life choices, or for something as simple as a snack. Like, hey, what do you think about this granola bar? Like, should I get this, or whatever the case may be, right? It's like, why do you need someone else's approval? Or if you're trying to start a business, why do you need someone else's approval? Go and start it. Nobody told me to start doing this podcast. I wanted to do it. I might have had inspiration from others to start this podcast and other podcasts I have, but I didn't ask anybody, hey, what do you think of, I should start a podcast, right? No, I didn't ask anybody to do that. I went out and started doing it myself, started researching on how to be an effective podcaster and learning. And as I've done this for the last year or so, I've gotten better, and I'm continuing to get better, and continuing to work at that, and just trying to constantly improve each and every day. Because when you remain stagnant, you don't get anywhere in life. You cannot remain stagnant like a rock, because once you do that, you are not improving, and you will not get to where you want to be. Nobody gets to their dream job or their dream position in the world, or wherever they're trying to achieve, by staying as stagnant as a rock, or a brick, or whatever the case may be, and not moving, not engaging in some type of movement. Do you think that Tom Brady got to be the best quarterback of all time from just staying where he was? Because if that was the case, he would not have he wouldn't have saw the field. If he didn't work and continue to get better. Drew Bledsoe got hurt and he got put into the game, but it takes a lot to remain the starter. Drew Bledsoe came back healthy, but Tom constantly worked at his game, and he constantly improved and got better, and then he remained a starter for 19 more seasons in New England, and brought them 6 Super Bowls. So my point here, what I'm trying to get at, is you have to constantly get one step faster each and every day. You're going to make mistakes. We all do. But it's how we respond to those mistakes, right? You look at it's just a thing where we all we make mistakes. We're going to do things that mess up, and nothing's going to be perfect, but it's just a matter of how much are you going to let that affect you, and are you going to let that stop you from what you're trying to do, from your end goal in life. You got to begin with the end in mind. That's going to be one of my key phrases here for this year, especially moving into the school year for me. And it starts next week, and all the Georgia State students who are watching this podcast, or you're listening, that school starts back next week for us. So I think the big deal this semester, this whole year rather, is just continue to improve what we learned upon freshman year for me, and just trying to continue to maintain good grades, and get better, and stay focused more, and those types of deals. Trying to make all A's again this year, if I can finish with both semesters. That's because once you set a certain standard for yourself, and you want to constantly reach that standard or exceed it. That's the goal, and it's a hard thing to do. It's not easy, but you have to try, and you have to keep going. Our failures are not going to stop you. Your failure's not going to stop us. They continue to push you and make you better. That's my thing on that. Like the name of this podcast is Pursuing Excellence. I'm not excellent in any means, at all, in no way. But I'm pursuing that. I'm striving for that. I'm striving after Christ. I'm trying to be the best version of myself each day that I can possibly be. And like I said, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. We're human. We're going to mess up. But it's just a matter of how are you going to get back up and respond to that. When you skate and you fall, are you going to just sit there on the ground, everybody skate over you and, trample you like a bunch of bulls running through the street? Or are you going to get back up and try again? Same thing with riding a bike or whatever the case may be, but it's the constant principle that remains the same. Like, get back up, get back up. You have to get back up and you have to try again. Nothing is going to be perfect the first time. I mean, the light bulb, when it was first invented, maybe it took like 100 test runs before it got to be the thing that we use each and every day, which is the light bulb, and now how it's grown to become one of the most astonishing resources of energy in the world. I mean, these things take time, and work, and constant testing, and just failure as well, because again, that our failures shape our success. Believe it or not, you have to fail forward, and once you use your problems and your mistakes and you learn from them and respond to them instead of reacting. Like I look at that, respond and react. Those are two completely different things. Reacting to something is when your automatic comeback to a certain situation is to just react. Like well, for example, if a person does something to you, you're going to do something back. That's a natural flight. It's fight or flight. It's that fight response, right? But whatever the situation might be. But in certain scenarios, the better thing to do is to respond and not react. Two different things. When you respond to something, you're analyzing the situation, and you're hypothesizing. Okay, how am I going to make this better? All right. So you're going over these different ideas on how you're going to make this better. How am I going to change the outcome of this experiment? How am I going to get a different outcome? I'm going to do something. I'm going to maybe try a different approach or do something a different way until I get the result that I am seeking. And that's the same thing we should do in life. Treat it like a science experiment. A science experiment isn't going to be immaculate the first time around. It's going to take continued hard work, and it's going to take more tests. It's going to take different hypotheses, different ways in order for it to be successful. I mean, Rome was not built in a day, as the old saying goes. It wasn't built in a day, and it took a long, hard time to get it built, and have everything as amazing as it is right now. I mean, again, you have to trust the process in life. What I'm getting at is you have to trust the process. You have to continue to maintain the path of what you're working down. You have to continue to stay focused, stay on that path no matter what. Tune the outside noise out, which we'll get to here in a second. But you have to maintain a constant path of just hard work and dedication to whatever it is you're doing. And if you stay focused on and centralized on what you are doing, and not getting distracted, which is very easy to do now, with the devil constantly tempting you, but you have to stay concentrated and focused on what your goal is. For me, my goal is to be a sports broadcaster, so I have to continue to do the things that are going to get me there. I have to do the hard work to get to that point in life. I have to do the necessary things it's going to require to reach that ultimate goal. And whatever the goal might be for you, you have to do whatever it takes to get there. Otherwise, it truly is not an end goal for you, and it's something that you do not want to do. You have to realize, you have to come to a halt point and realize whatever you're trying to do, make sure that you love it and that it's something that you really want to do. Because if not, you're wasting your time, you're wasting anybody else's time that's involved with you on said scenario, said goal. So I mean, for business owners, they want their business to be the best in the world. Everybody has that goal, right? And if you don't have that goal, then you probably don't want to really have your own business, and you're probably just doing it just to, maybe hear how everybody else is doing. Why not I do it? Well, if you really want to do it, then you're going to take the necessary steps to make it to as successful as you want it to be. Only you can do that, because it's your business, it's your ideas, your company. You have to make it as successful as it's going to be. It's going to take your hard work, it's going to take your dedication, it's going to take your time, it's going to take your effort. And I believe as society we get sidetracked on those things that, we lose the overall purpose of what we're trying to do in life, and it's easy right now in our world with everything going on to get distracted, to let things overtake our minds and our hearts. But at the end of the day, we have to fall back on what is true, and we have to understand that God has a plan for everybody. And if you do not, if you don't trust in that plan, then whatever you're trying to do, it's not going to happen. If you try to rush things that aren't meant to be rushed, then bad things are going to happen. Because it's patience. Patience is going to take time for these things to come into fruition. You have to trust in that, and especially for men, us, my guys out there know what I'm talking about. Patience is not an easy thing, for anybody, but it is a virtue, and it's something that we all have to have, as hard as it is, because again, and life is a process. Life it is you have to mix in the right ingredients, and you have to just wait for everything to come into fruition. And it's hard. It's going to take blood, sweat, and tears, and it's not easy at all. But it's what the destination doesn't matter, but the journey does. The journey, right? That's how you get there. That's truly what matters. That whole time and that whole process of how you're going about things, how you get to your end goal is what matters. Not where it is or what it is, but more so, how are you going to get there? What are the steps that you're going to take to get to where you're trying to be? Are you going to let the outside world determine who you are, or what kind of personality you have, or what you should and shouldn't do? No, you shouldn't do that. I don't believe you should do that. That's not a good thing. We're all guilty of it. It's basically a magnified version of peer pressure, but it's much more than that. When you get into the specifics of it, because peer pressure may be something like getting coerced into drinking or doing drugs or something like that, or something that's wrong that you shouldn't be doing, but since everybody else is doing it, and you want to be considered cool and popular among people, you do that anyway. No, but you still know that at the end of the day what you're doing is wrong. But in this case, it's much more bigger. It's on a larger scale. You're letting everyone else in the world determine the type of person you are, the type of energy you're going to bring into the room, and you can't do that. You have to bring your own energy into the room. You have to lift others up around you, or tear them down. Again, that's your choice. It's everybody else's choice. Everybody has their own choice in life, but you can't let others dictate what choice you make. You can't let them shape who you are, because at the end of the day, everybody's got their own decision to make. Everybody's got their own minds. Everybody's got their own bodies, and we control ourselves. And at the end of the day, we all have to make choices that are best for us, decisions that are going to help or not help us, right? So I think that's moving forward. We have to do a better job of tuning out the noise, all of us, myself included, tuning out the noise and just focusing on what's best for you, and just attacking that every day, and just not worrying about the end result right now, or what everybody else is thinking of you. No, don't worry about what other people think. Just do you, do what you're best at, and continue to get better each and every day. Get one step faster every day. One step faster. Get one step better each and every. Forget what happened yesterday. Today's a new day. Make today better. Make today great. And don't look forward to tomorrow. Don't look back on yesterday. We get too caught up in looking into the future or looking back into the past too much. As humans, the past is filled with things sometimes that we like to remember, and some things we like to forget, but don't dwell on those things, because that's only going to bring you down, and you don't want to be brought down, because once you're sinking down, you can't get up and you can't move forward. You can't transgress to where you're trying to be, and that's only going to bunker you and weigh you down. But when you focus on the one day at a time and just making the day great, and being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, that's all you can do. And you just got to take that approach with each day. And once we do that, I believe the end goal that we're all trying to reach is going to be attainable, and trusting in the plan God has for you, or Yeah, just trusting the plan God has for you. We may want that plan to come into fruition sooner rather than later, but again, time is important. Patience. You have to wait, and you have to just take that single day by day approach to everything. And I believe once we do that, we're going to get our dreams materialized. So that's really what I want to talk about here on the podcast today. First episode back in a while here on Pursuing Excellence. I just wanted to get you guys some more action here as we head into getting into the nitty grittiness of the year for school for a lot of people. And just listen to this and take it as a word that no matter what everybody else thinks, do you be yourself. Be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And that's the only thing you can do. And at the end of the day, everything else will work itself out. God will work everything else out for you. So